Hi, Krystle. We are very fortunate to have you here today on the Zoom call. And we are from Shejar. Shejar is a 15-year-old publication which caters to the needs of Kashmir and Kashmir politics, Kashmir culture, Kashmir music, and everything related to Kashmir. And we have about 8 to 10,000 subscribers. So it is very good that we are talking to you today so that most of the Kashmiris can know you, who you are, what you are, and for what you are standing for. So please tell us some background about you, about your growing up in this country and your family background.
Sure. So I grew up in Long Island, New York. My father is from Safapur, Kashmir. And I grew up, so I am a Kashmiri Pandit, and I am very connected with my Kashmiri heritage and culture. I have been back to Kashmir 4 times now. I lived there in 2011 doing PhD fieldwork, and I stand very firm with the Kashmiri Pandits on their plight, on highlighting the genocide that occurred, and if elected to Congress, I want to champion a bill to highlight that and recognize the Kashmiri Pandit genocide.
We are very lucky to have you here today, and we are very proud of your service in this country. You are in the defense services, which very few Kashmiris are. I think you are one of the few Kashmiris who have served in the defense industry. So growing up, what lessons you learned in that, and what made you interested in coming to politics and running for a congressional seat in the United States?
Yeah, I've always had a passion to serve. My interest was ignited in 1989 when the insurgency started. I was 5 years old, and I had a lot of conviction as a child saying that I wanted to do something about it. And when I became an adult, I was 17, moved to Washington, D.C., started at American University, and my passion to serve started then. I studied international relations. I minored in women in politics. By 19, I was working on Capitol Hill, and I was part of a Washington leadership program, which was a starter program for young South Asian Americans to get into politics when we had no members of Congress at that time. And so 15 were selected across the country. And I'm very proud to say that some of my colleagues have gone on to become state senators. And several have found their place across government. And so that was my intro into politics. And I have committed to that through my master's at Johns Hopkins in international relations, focusing on Kashmir, on Israel-Palestine, and then my PhD work at Brown University, where I again focused on Kashmir and Israel-Palestine. And I got a grant to actually live in Kashmir. I did doctoral fieldwork there. I took firsthand interviews with Pandits who were there. I went to the refugee camps in Parku and Nagrota. I interviewed MPs in Delhi, Air Force generals. I went up to Ladakh. And so I took a path of service. And I spent most of my career with Department of Defense. So my service has been in protecting the homeland. And that is a story that is one of the 9 other national security Democrats who are in Congress today. They all have come from a background in national security and defense, such as Abigail Spanberger, who served with the CIA. So that has been my path, has been one of service in the defense arena. And I want to now use that and enter into the political sphere.
You are running from the Congressional District, Virginia 10. So can you
Correct.
tell us something about that district and how you would like to serve the district that you want to represent in the Congress? So tell us something about that district and your passion, what you want to do for that district.
Yeah, so District 10, Virginia includes Ashburn, Chantilly, Leesburg, Sterling, Dulles, Manassas, Warrenton, some parts of Fairfax. So it is It's Loudoun County, it's Rappahannock County, it's Prince William. Like I said, it's Greater Manassas and then part of Fairfax. And the majority makeup of the district are people who work in defense, either as a defense contractor or a defense civilian, a small business owner with a defense contract, military, veteran. That is the predominant makeup of the district. And so my background really resonates with your average voter from a standpoint of we all have served in this defense space in some form or facet. I'm currently a small business owner, and so I have a company, Krystle Communications, and I help technology firms apply their solutions in helping the Department of Defense's mission. From small businesses such as 8As, women-owned, disabled veteran, to mid-sized companies, to large corporations such as Intel, McKinsey, Bank of New York Mellon, Bain. I also teach at MIT remotely, and I think being a teacher also helps me really understand the education system and how teaching is so important. And so I think that's, to answer your question, I mean, it's being a small business owner, being in the defense arena, also being a teacher. All of those things are what make me a very relatable candidate and one who can really serve my constituents well.
So what are the problems do you plan to solve for your district or for the nation on the whole? And have you planned any initiatives if you are selected in the Congress that you would like to present and, with your colleagues so that you can serve the community as well as the community in the United States?
Yeah. So in my district, my platform, I stand strong on 3 topic areas. The first being education, the second is healthcare, and the third is public safety. In terms of education, I want to provide more resources to teachers and to schools, more skills training to teachers. I think that there is some room for improvement with enhancing our educational system in VA-10. In terms of healthcare, I want to make it more affordable and accessible. As a small business owner myself, I know the daily struggles that several small business owners face, as well as others, in terms of just having more affordable prescription drugs, having more reasonable specialist copays, having deductibles that are not exorbitant. And I think that there is, when you're not necessarily working for a large company, right, and you are a small business owner, your healthcare costs can be extremely high. And that is something fundamental for every family that is a concern. So I think that's the second that I would really like to reform. And the third is public safety. I mean, coming from a national security background, I have committed my career to protecting the homeland. And I think that protecting America starts with protecting your district. You need safe neighborhoods, you need safe schools, safe communities. And so that is really fundamental at the core when you're looking at public safety and then at a grander scale, national security.
I have one question about Kashmir. You are a Kashmiri girl. We are very fortunate and we are very proud that a Kashmiri girl is fighting for running for Congress in United States of America, which is a very proud thing for her, all of us. And definitely, but what are your views and how do you think that you can bring Kashmir into focus in United States? It's not an international issue, but still, how you think you can help Kashmir and Kashmiri Pandits while being in Congress?
Yeah, well, there are a few things I would like to champion if elected. And I think that first and foremost, Kashmiri Pandits need a voice. We have 0 representation in Congress today. I am the first ever Kashmiri Pandit to run for Congress, and if elected, we'll be the first ever in. And I think that we're very unique in our community and that we have had this pending conflict for years. And we have not had recognition of the genocide that did occur. So I'd say that first and foremost, I'd want to champion a bill to recognize the genocide. I'm someone who, even since high school, in high school, I was a senior editor of a Holocaust genocide project that recognized genocides around the world. And this is something that I held true at a young age. And then also in my work in graduate school, and even with the Department of Defense. And the think tank work that I've done, you cannot forget history, right? You can't forget atrocities that have occurred. So that would be the first and foremost bill I would champion. I would create a Kashmir caucus. So today we have, for example, there's a Sindh caucus that exists in Congress, but we can actually have a Kashmir caucus that highlights the beautiful Kashmiri heritage, culture, the art, the film.
Right.
And that is something that I can champion while in. I want to be able to have a right of return for pundits if they want it. I think that's something that is important, and that can be entered into dialogue of bilateral relations with India. There can be pressure placed on India that's, for the pundits, and that is something, when the president is speaking with the Prime Minister of India, to highlight that this is a point that we need to address. This has not been resolved yet.
Yeah.
And I want to create a foundation, a Kashmiri Heritage Foundation. And that, again, will be something to actually preserve our unique art, from paper mache to walnut wood to our Pashmina shawls, to our culture, to our rich civilization that we've had. And I want to also highlight the point that, Kashmir is not just a conflict. Kashmir existed years before the conflict ever existed, right? It's very rich in history as being languages, a seat of civilization, a seat of a lot of spirituality, and a very unique mountain culture that exists there. And I think that needs to be preserved and not forgotten. Everything from our dress to the houseboats. I mean, there's so much there. And as each generation passes, we need to hold that in some way. So I would love to be able to actually create a museum that celebrates all of that, that rich culture and heritage. Yeah, and I think this foundation that I can set up would be able to do that. Yeah. That would be something very important for me. And having a film that not only highlights the conflict, but also highlights all the beauty and the beautiful aspects of Kashmir, right. Because that's something that we should really celebrate.
Wonderful. I'm very impressed how you described what you will do for Kashmir, and these are all practical things. But unfortunately, our own government in India, they have not declared Kashmir as a genocide. And you raised this point that you will raise this issue, and that's a lofty idea. And we would definitely love you to be there in Congress as our voice, as the voice of Kashmiri Pundits. Now, coming back to your running for Congress, how would you like those who want to support you to reach out to you?
Well, the best way to support me, if anyone listening lives in Virginia District 10, the first is I request you all to come vote for me. The primary is on June 18th. So I'm running on the Democratic ticket. As I said, I'm a national security Democrat. I'm very pro-security defense, and I am very pro-education, and I would request your vote. For those who are not in my district, the best way to support me is through a contribution. So I have a fund link that is through ActBlue, and that can be sent out, I believe, with this video. So you can do it through there. You can go to my website, www.krystleforcongress.com, and that's KrystleForCongress.com. And you can make a contribution there. My whole entire platform is on there. And so I've been getting national contributions from around the country, from Kashmiri Pundits and Indian Americans and people from all sorts of communities around the, from cities and rural areas. So it's been really quite heartwarming to see all the support that I've been getting from everyone, everywhere. And that would be my big request, because elections are very expensive, and it takes the community to get one of us elected. And so it's all the contributions combined together that can help win a race. And so that is my request to the community. And I urge people to reach out to me. Right. Send me an email. You can email me at Krystle@krystleforcongress.com. again, spelled Krystle. You can call me. You can send something through my website has a form that you can fill out if you have any questions or concerns. So I really like to hear from the community on, what are issues that you face. And I'm really open to having Zoom calls, to interfacing with as many people as I possibly can. And I will be traveling as well to several cities around the country.
Right.
So I want to be able to have that. I think the face-to-face time is very important as well. So I request that we can set those up and do that. And I can then sit with the community and hear what are those issues that you face. What are the concerns that you have? Because that will help inform me as well as I shape my platform. I think it's really important to hear what people have to say.
I can understand running for Congress or running for an office in USA is very expensive. You need a lot of money. Even in our magazine Shejar, in the new issue, we have put a page of for Krystle in the spotlight section, and we have a donation link there. So people who would like to donate, even outside the District 10 of Virginia, should help Krystle, because she was our Kashmiri girl, and we would definitely like to support her in whatever way we can. Small contribution, big contribution, whatever you can. Even if it's a $50 contribution, $10 contribution, please go and support Krystle, krystleforcongress.com. There's a link there. There's a link in Shejar also. So we would definitely like to help our Kashmiri sister, Kashmiri girl, to run for Congress. And we are really very proud and fortunate to have a person like you running for it. And we wish you all the best. We cannot express much here, but we wish you all the best. And I would request everybody to support in whatever way contribution, because we want to help her. We want to help her and see a first Kashmiri Congresswoman in United States. Thank you very much, Krystle. Just before we leave, a few words from you to our audience.
Sure. Well, the first, just from a logistical standpoint. So in terms of contributions, the maximum I can take per person is $6,600 per election cycle. And it has to also come from a personal credit card or a check. So it cannot be from business account. And that is why it's a volume game, because in order to raise 3 to 5 million plus, you need lots of contributions. And again, as Deepak said, it's small to large. So I say yatta shakti to people. That is my message to everyone, which is please try to contribute whatever to the max is in your capacity. And my message is, this is our moment. This is our moment to finally have a voice. Representation matters. You need to have one of your own in, because the only way you can be able to make any change and move it forward is to have someone that has some emotional connection and attachment to your community. I, like many Kashmiri Pundits, watched my grandfather lose his house, lose his land, go through severe depression. My grandfather was a very celebrated veteran journalist. His name is Krystle Kaul. He wrote for Greater Kashmir and published many articles, and then he wrote several books. Agony of Kashmir, Kashmir, a Land Call Dispute. And so that is where I received a lot of my inspiration from my grandfather and from my father. And this is a moment to come forward and to, your dollar will actually help move things forward, get bills passed. And if we lose this opportunity, I don't know when it will happen again. And it's really been very overwhelming to see the kind of support I'm getting from the whole community. So from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. And I say again, this is a moment, and this is where we can finally have a voice, because I know that we're all very passionate. We're all highly educated, and we care about these issues, and we want to be able to tell our story in the end of the day. And this is how we can finally do that.
You're so right. It doesn't matter which organizations. We are all Kashmiris in the end. And and
it doesn't matter.
I would request everybody to help our Kashmir Beni. So support Krystle. Thank you so much. Thank you. Namaskar. Thank you
so much. Appreciate